And that was a dream come true for me. I got to hire staff. I knew I was behind in recruiting, preparing spring ball without your staff, but I was excited for the challenge. Dr. Dawson got scholarships moved from 25 to 30 full scholarships. As you know, the max at D2 is 36. That was great news. That same week, we talked about what it takes to get a brand new turf back in April. He also gave me contact information on the AstroTurf sales rep, of course, hoping that we could get that turf as soon as possible. While hiring assistant coaches, I knew that coaches would need temporary housing in their transition. I knew there were empty dorms. One of the assistant coaches that had verbally committed to coach at St. Aug was a 10-year NFL vet and a former Walter Payton Award nominee, Man of the Year. He did not need to be a full-time employee or even on salary. He said, give me a place to sleep and I can bring what I did in San Diego to become a nominee in Raleigh. I spoke to the housing and I was told to look at the second floor above the campus police. Housing was great and I was given 4 keys. I was excited because it had beds and a warm shower. Heck, I was sleeping on the air mattress in my office at Atkinson Hall and taking cold showers. When I got my first hire a month later, we were denied because someone higher up said it was considered an extra benefit. Was any new employee at this institution and you have plenty unused dorm space, to help a new employee in transition will be a positive. I did an inventory to check what are the football needs, like new helmets, new pads, thigh pads, offensive lineman knee braces, laundry detergent, cleats, workout apparel, travel gear, and etc. I called and emailed BSN, the apparel company. When I spoke with him, he said, we don't do business with you guys because you have not paid your bill. I called the company that did our laundry because I knew spring ball is coming up. I want to watch these guys' uniforms. So I called the company that I believe donated the 4 washers and 4 dryers to the university to see how we can order detergent for spring ball and the season. I met with the rep in my office and he brought me an invoice to show me a 2021 and a 2022 bill. He said, we cannot do business with St. Aug till we get the bill paid. My concerns were, how come these bills have not been paid? The 2021 bill was only $167. From apparel, equipment, laundry detergent, I said, no problem. We can just fundraise to get this taken care of. When all the head coaches met with the president, the vice president of finance and administration, and the interim athletic director, they talked about the university's SACS accreditation and how athletics needs to contribute to pay the yearly CIAA membership fee to stay a member. That cost, I believe, I don't know the exact, is $100,000. At that time, we were told that any fundraising that you do had to come through the school first. Based on what I learned from the coaches that had been there, that your team rarely get what they fundraise. At that point, I was only hoping to get some clarity on when can we purchase our needs for the team. I had parents ask me, what can they do to help? We went with the president and her administration again, and they talked about the importance of athletics to this university and how the preparation for the SACS accreditation was going great. The president asked each coach, how many players are you having on your team? I said a minimum of 125. She had Ms. Key to calculate the cost of 125 times 27.5, which approximately the cost to go to university debt. So she saw how much 125 teams were bringing. But we brought in 150 to 160 guys to this team. When July got here, we brought to campus, again, like I said, over 150 student athletes. As far as the SACS accreditation, I'm not 100%, but I believe that SACS Group was visiting our campus in September to finalize the university accreditation. Because spending was shut down in athletics, we could not have official visits. This year recruiting, 95% of student athletes we brought here, we did not see. I went to Dr. Dawson and said, we're losing some great players to other schools because we can't bring kids on official visit. Dr. Dawson said to me directly, hey, look, give me 5 to 7 names of players that you really, really want. And get a total cost analysis, travel expense, hotel, food costs. My wife and I did that night. The next day, he went to the president. The president approved it. Out of the 7 names we got, 6 of those guys committed. So in preparation for our summer football camps in June, I learned 2 weeks before camp that our head athletic trainer will be leaving. When I called her, the first thing she said, how did you find out? Her assistant was able to help us get through summer camp. I started the panic mode on getting an athletic trainer hired for the season. Even today, the university haven't hired a full-time athletic trainer. Now it's camp time, July 29th. We brought in 110 players at the beginning of camp, and then we spaced it out throughout the time when school opened up. The spacing was because we had a lack of equipment, because we couldn't fundraise. Oh yeah, I still haven't gotten the clearance to purchase needed equipment that was needed. We're into training camp. Out the blue, I get a call from a board member apologizing for the hornet nest that I have encountered. At that time, Dr. Dawson was looking at getting the team a module for our temporary locker room. He had me go over to Shaw University and look at theirs. So the board member asked me, what are your needs? And I sure that we will get that taken care of. So when I told him about it, he said, well, it looks like you need about 20,000. He said, I'll call you right back. He calls me right back and said, I got you 25,000. And I was excited. And the first thing I said to him, that football will not get that money because of the process here. His direct words, I will call the president and make sure you get that money. We got the money, and because of the ordering process, our offensive line just got their knee braces about 2 weeks ago. We are hoping to get cleats in soon. We are so thankful for his generosity, we were able to order other football needs the rest. Because we did not have a full-time trainer for our players to be cleared to practice, everything went through our interim compliance young lady, from medical clearance, which was our trainer, and to NCAA clearance. It took 4 days after July 4th before we can get 20 players to practice. During that time, I was trying to say, once a player medically cleared, that he should be able to practice. You didn't have to go through medical clearance and through NCAA clearance to practice. There was a difference. As a reminder, we didn't have a full-time trainer. My players are not getting any type of treatment during the day. Because we had an interim athletic trainer, we only could practice from 6 a.m. to 8, no problem. But after that, we have no athletic trainer to assist with our medical conditions. 2 days before the first game, 33 players had not been cleared to play. Talking about trying to adjust your team to a game. That same day, Thursday before the first game, we had a meeting with the president about getting a new turf, and the field will be off limits from that Monday of the Elizabeth City game. I'm excited for the turf. We talked at that meeting about a practice site. We talked about transportation for our student athletes to and from the site. We were ready to drive the 3 vans back and forth for our young men to get to practice. I spoke with the Raleigh Parks and Recreational the next day and was told that all you need is proof of insurance. That was Friday before the first game. That week of the Elizabeth City game, we practiced in the parking lot behind the bleachers at the stadium. All I kept saying was, all we need was a proof of insurance. The administration knew that we needed a certificate of insurance in order to play off campus at Southeast Raleigh High School. Mr. Latson, the interim athletic director, emailed the COI, Certificate of Insurance, the Friday before the Virginia State game. In my head, I was wondering, how were we able to play off campus with the other 2 games? Anyway, it's now been 2 weeks of practicing on concrete. I was excited to get that COI email. I forwarded that directly to the Raleigh Parks and Recreational, and he emailed it back to me immediately. Said the university needs to change the names and address, and you guys can practice right away. During the 2 weeks' time, I was sending emails to administration trying to get the COI so that my team can have the best chance to compete on Saturday. I got no response. One day, I sent 3 emails to administration and never heard back. I was so frustrated about the lack of communication, but more importantly, the mental and physical well-being of our student athletes, that I emailed the administration on forfeiting our Bowie State game. Guess what? I finally got an email back. I kept saying, why should I put our young men in harm's way when the administration is not showing they care? Who allows a football team to practice on concrete, basically a high-tempo walkthrough, and now go play a fast physical game on Saturday without proper preparation? As I said, I finally got an email back from the chief of staff saying we cannot forfeit a game. But take a look at the grass beside Gould Hall and St. Agnes Hospital. I walked up there, divots, hilly, and in my head I'm like, do they really understand what it takes to practice on a football field for our football team? On the way to Bowie, we had a practice on a football field. It was great to see yard lines and a field goal for our kickers. I get a call from Mr. Latcher saying, from Ms. Key, to stop all the emails, we know the concern. Is it wrong of me to protect my players knowing that they were not properly prepared to play a football game? I kept saying, do they not understand what it takes to play the game? All I wanted to know is why I have not gotten the information that was needed so that we can practice on a football field. At that point, all I could say is, do they really care about the mental and physical health of our student athletes? Remember, we do not have a full-time athletic trainer on campus. Our young men only get treatments from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the mornings, no treatment afterwards. And you guys know the game of football, you can have ding-ups. So I'm concerned about that. And we had a meeting with Mr. Latson, and we wanted to talk about how can we get a key to the ice room. So therefore, we can get ice bags for our student athletes because we have a trainer. And this is throughout the whole athletic administration that we wanted the head coach to get that. Today, I still don't have a key to the ice room. As you can see, we have some big players here. We only get to eat twice a day on the weekends. How can college athletes, especially the 300-pounders, be on a full capacity energy level and eat only twice on Saturdays and Sundays in the cafeteria? Again, what are the university concerns of our student athlete mental and physical health? This brings us up to the Virginia Union game, the violation that I read at the beginning. The first 2 games of the season, I had received documentation, DocuSign, to sign off, and emails from our compliance, updates from the compliance who was cleared and not cleared. Once I stopped receiving the eligibility report and the DocuSign, my focus was on where and how can we practice to prepare for our games. It was a lapse on my part when we played Virginia Union. Cam Page, the student athlete, wore the jersey of a player that was no longer on the team and participated. He played 3 snaps on kickoff return. I wish he'd have played 50 snaps if we won the game, but he only played 3 snaps. Again, I understand the importance of playing an illegal player because number 9 was Pierre, a young man from France. Again, he was left to go back to Canada on his connection back through to France, and he would tell you that he was a starting tailback, probably gonna be the captain of our special team, and I didn't play him. But this young man's a backup, so again, there was a lapse on my part. Because we did not have a sports information director, there was a delay in the updating of the player's number. I got a call from compliance about who was wearing 9, and I had to ask my equipment manager. That night, about 10 o'clock, I got a call from Mr. Latson, and he put us on a 3-way call from the chief of staff to explain what happened. I did, and the chief of staff wanted an email on what I told them to give to the president. I completed that 11 o'clock that night. Last Friday, when I got terminated immediately, I learned about Naron Campbell Adams. He was not NCAA cleared. Based on the administration investigation, he participated in all 5 games. The young man only dressed at the Virginia Union game and did not play. They have him playing in 5 games. He was not even on the travel roster to Lenore Ryan or Elizabeth City State University. These are my multiple infractions that were considered by Mr. Latson as an NCAA Level 1 violation. I challenge everyone to go look at the NCAA Division 1, Division 2, what the NCAA Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, or Level 4 violations are to see what I accepted and did was a Level 1 violation. My question, was this investigation by the university done thoroughly or a rush to judgment? But why? I'm about to close here. I'm apologize for my wife. She has been through a lot, but to be treated this way. I apologize to the administration, to my staff who came from Texas, who come from Charlotte, come from Illinois, come from all over to be a part of this staff. I want to apologize to my parking lot guys for those infractions I mistakenly missed. I will hold myself accountable for my actions. As long as I'm a coach, I will never stop caring for the mental and physical health of my student athletes. For the administration, would you allow your child to play in these conditions? Not get proper Medicare, to eat only 2 meals a day on the weekends, and to play in these conditions? Have you even spoken to the team about their concerns? Have you met with the team about the immediate departure of their head coach the day before a game? Where is the accountability to your own children? Believe it or not, we are here to raise them. My parking lot guys know that I have a scripture or words that I read from church every Sunday to our team meeting. This scripture is for the St. Augustine University administration. And in church on Sunday, James 3:16. And again, this is to the administration. For where you have envy and self-ambition, there you will find disorder and every evil practice. I'm going to read it again, James 3:16. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and every evil practice. Through this scripture, I found my why the university football program have had their lack of success. All I ask, please look up what an NCAA Level 1 violation is. If the university write me up, the NCAA do an investigation. I would love to get that ruling. I would never know because I am no longer employed, or just ask around and see. Thank you again to President Dr. McPhail and Dr. Dawson for this opportunity, and thank you for allowing me to share my story. I'm done. Oh, my goodness. Any questions?
Just for clarification,
Yes.
purposes. You touched on the number 9 jersey,
Yes.
and that was just a jersey mishap. And then the second infraction that they had mentioned, can you just kind of go over that quickly again?
Okay. We're dealing with the first one, Cam Page, and they said that playing with a guy jersey. Pierre Medjabar was found ineligible for a 10 semester, and that was found 48 hours beforehand. And at the same time, he was part of that 33 group of guys that wasn't cleared to play. And so therefore, he's no longer on the team. He's transferred, and of course, I think he's still in Canada right now. And so when a player leaves the team, we will give another player a jersey number. And at that time, fourth game of the season, this young man, Cam, had earned an opportunity to play. And so that was a vacant number. And therefore, we gave him that number. So when you come to investigation on their part, in my regards, did you do enough investigation on that? And what's the second question?
The second infraction that you mentioned, the kid who
The second infraction is kind of ironic because at the very beginning of this, giving everybody jersey numbers at training camp, take pictures with, Chris Conway wore 31, okay? Chris Conway wore the number 41. Because it was never updated and changed in the profiles of these young men, because again, we did not have a sports information director at the time, there was a huge confusion on Chris Conway and Nyron Campbell. Nyron Campbell, as I mentioned, dressed out one game. That was a Virginia Union game. Nyron Campbell did not travel to Elizabeth City or Lenoir Rhine. But for their investigation, they said he played in all 5 games, which is not true.
Were you put on suspension prior to being dismissed from the university, or just
No, when I showed up Friday morning after practice, because the guys know I left practice early, I showed up with my sweats on, and here it is. And they asked the same questions about those 2 young men, and I mentioned the same thing, no different than the email that I have here. That I sent to them that night at 11 o'clock to validate what I was saying. And so, no, based on my homework, and you guys do your own homework, this was a violation. But for this type of violation, it's very rare that you will find someone get let go and terminated immediately.
Did you know Cameron Page was ineligible?
Did I know? Yes, I knew he was ineligible right when we started those. We were getting those DocuSigns and the information from the compliance, and so throughout the process of trying to figure out how to take care of these guys in a practical setting, completely forgot clean out about it.
So to be clear, there are 2 players, Cameron Page and Nyron Campbell.
Yes.
Who both of them were ineligible. Both of them rest. Campbell, the university is saying played in 5 games. You're saying that's not true.
That's not true.
He only dressed in 1. And
Correct.
Page only played 3 snaps of 1 game. Is that
Correct.
In your opinion, is this firing retaliation for the concerns you brought up?
I that was a thought I had. I think it's one of those things that I feel that media or people should go and ask them directly. I don't know if they're transparent as I am to honestly ask that question, because why would you tell a coach stop the emails? What is that saying? When all I'm trying to do is figure out how we can prepare these young men for a game.
Coach, is there thoughts of filing a lawsuit?
I will come to that soon in regards to what direction I want to go there, because that would be a consideration, but at this point I rather not say exactly what direction I want to go.
What does it mean to have so many players here? It looks like about 40, 50 players off campus showing up on their own time.
I get teary-eyed because I can't say what I usually say to them, but they know I love them, and I'm all about them. So it was great.
How long was the original contract you signed?
3 years, 3-year deal, 3-year deal, 3-year deal. I tried to get extended, but they didn't want to do that. They said after 2 years we'll see.
So 3-year deal, and you signed that earlier this year.
I signed I think March 20th. I think I'd start the first meeting March 22nd or 23rd.
In your dismissal, did the university say anything about a payout, or did they say that's it?
Payout. I wish that was was talked about. I'd probably smile more. No, it wasn't. Again, this contract, as I reread it again, exactly their terms here. What's that? Upon further investigation, university and then around Campbell, whatever. I'm trying to go back. Basically, it's immediate termination. That's your paycheck will be processed and done on October 20th.
Coach, what's next for you?
Trying to find employment. I have bills to pay. This is, I've been fired before. I've been fired after winning championships before. But I was given a reason. This is their reason. So I will look for employment, take some time out and use my wife's flight privileges and maybe travel and just think through what's next.
Some of the challenges you mentioned, were you aware of those when you were hired? The lack of a full-time trainer, the lack of a sports information director. I mean, was the university, in your opinion, transparent about the situation, the job that you were encountering, and then you just took the job knowing it, or you were unaware of some of these
No,
challenges?
what I knew when I took the job was they didn't have a press box, they didn't have a locker room, they need a new turf. I knew those three things. At the time, they did have an athletic trainer. As I mentioned in my statement, I learned 2 weeks before our first football camp that she was leaving. And so, but all the other things not knowing about, we couldn't do business with the BSN apparel or get laundry detergent that was not paid from 2021. I learned that on the run. So I knew then from those two things that, we have more of an issues than I could imagine. And so then we had to stop the spending. We could not spend, so we couldn't go out recruit, couldn't bring official visits in. So I learned it, as I got here.
Coach, these guys still have more games left to play. What is your message to them as they kind of endure what is a bizarre time for this football program?
They know me. I'm not a quitter. They know me. I'm all about winning. They know that I came to win every football game. As one of the coaches said when I, emptied my office yesterday, they weren't surprised I wasn't out at the Charlotte game this past weekend. But believe it, I was on my phone checking the game out. So all I say to them is that, hey, keep the fight. Keep the fight. Don't let one loss take you to another loss. My departure is only to help you guys get better. We know that life is challenging, and sometimes God throws a curveball, and the direction that He has for every one of you guys is we will not know. But the one thing that they will know from me, because they know about sharing stories from my past, is I'm going to use these guys to continue to grow and help them grow. So they better go win.
Did any of the other head coaches of the other sports have these same issues, and did they bring them up, or was this?
I'll let you.
Aimed at you?
I will let you ask them, and I will let you ask them, because I think what I covered a total aspect of things. So I will let you ask them, because we all have different issues, but at the same time, fundraising to fundraising, and that's a huge part.